Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Christchurch for this final of our regular Music on the Green concerts of 2025. We're delighted to welcome back today the Galliard Trio, who have played here once before, all of 6 years ago now, so it's wonderful to have them back again. They're a very versatile sort of woodwind trio with a bit of keyboard thrown in, and you'll be seeing them ringing the changes of instruments as we go through the they've selected a lovely varied programme for us today, of Beethoven, Vaughan Williams, so there should be a bit of something for everyone in that. Let's now put our hands together to welcome the Galliard Trio.
Good afternoon. And it's great to be back in Esher. And now for some post-prandial entertainment, I hope. Starting with Beethoven. Beethoven made his name initially as a pianist, a brilliant pianist. And shortly after his 16th birthday, he visited Vienna to show off his skills. Quite a long journey from Bonn, where he was born. He'd perhaps hoped to meet Mozart in Vienna, but unfortunately, for the 6 weeks or so that Beethoven was there, Mozart was away in Prague, so the two never met. And when Beethoven returned to Vienna, this time to have composition lessons with Haydn in 1792, Mozart had died. But Mozart's music was incredibly popular still in Vienna, and many of his tunes from his operas were arranged for wind bands and whatever to be played in the street or parks or whatever, sort of pop music of the time. And to show off his composition skills, Beethoven decided to write this set of variations on one of Mozart's best-known tunes. And it's clever stuff for a 21-year-old. There are about 8 or 9 variations, all very different, and then you'll hear the theme return at the end.
to Vaughan Williams. Sorry, I better go to the microphone. Vaughan Williams, great English composer, well known for his terrific large symphonies. I think he wrote 9 of them, and all sorts of excuse me, film music and so on. But he also wrote small-scale music. And the example comes from his fascination as a young man before the First World War for folk music. And he went round in the early years of the century, the 1900s, to various places recording authentic songs from people who were singing them in places such as, in the music we're about to play, South Walsham, King's Lynn, even the Chequers Inn at Cookham Dean in Berkshire. So he had a serious belief in the value of folk music. He said, one day, perhaps, we shall find an ideal music which will be neither popular nor classical, highbrow or lowbrow, but an art in which all can take part. He saw music as a powerful force for social unification. So he wrote these wonderful 6 studies for cello and piano originally, and they've been adapted widely for different combinations. So we've had no hesitation in doing the same.
I do it without the microphone? Can you hear me at the back? Yes. Yeah, good. Okay. Now these duets by Telemann, which the one we're going to play as part of the series, are unusual in that they were written for two melody instruments without a bass line. And maybe this was to make them available to a wider number of people. There may not have been a harpsichord or a bass instrument in the house, but there may well have been a couple of recorders or flutes or violins to hand. So they're informal pieces, but extremely well crafted, I think, written to be played at home. I like to imagine, if one can here, a wood-panelled room in a merchant's house in northern Germany, perhaps Hamburg, where Telemann spent most of his working life. In the two outer movements of the three, the instruments move together often in canon. The first movement is broad in tone, and the third is playful. And they enclose a slow movement, which is quite different, with each instrument taking the melodic line and the other one embroidering.
use this mic because I think it distorts slightly less. We're moving on now to Tchaikovsky, very different to Telemann. In 1875, he was at really the height of his powers. His first piano concerto had been performed, and he was busy writing the music for the ballet Swan Lake. And he was approached by a St. Petersburg music publisher, Nikolai Bernard, who suggested the idea of 12 piano pieces, one for each month of the year. And Bernard's idea was that they'd be published once a month, a bit like a Dickens novel. In the end, Tchaikovsky dashed them off in about 3 weeks, I think, but they were published separately. As well as being one for each month, Bernard suggested a subtitle for each month and also provided a little poem to go with it. So the first, June, the Barcarolle, which was to become one of Tchaikovsky's most famous pieces. The poem is, "Let us go to the shore. There the waves will kiss our feet. With mysterious sadness, the stars will shine down on us." And it indeed has a melancholy quality. December is subtitled Christmas, altogether rather jollier. And the poem goes like this. "Once upon a Christmas night, the girls were telling fortunes, taking their slippers off their feet and throwing them out of the gate." So we can imagine them having a good time. These pieces became immensely popular, rather to Tchaikovsky's irritation, I think, but much to the benefit of his bank account.
I believe we're going to get an encore, is that right? It was promised to me.
Depends on
Yes, I'm sure I'm sure we'd like to hear your encore. If we clap loud enough.
We have a little piece by Bizet from Jeux d'enfants for Petit Marie, Petite Femme.
Well, thank you very much indeed to Andrew, Martin and Alec for that lovely concert. I felt they gave us a bit of a journey through the seasons. Tchaikovsky certainly covered June and December, and the perkiness of the time, the Beethoven variations, summer, and the Vaughan Williams felt quite autumnal, so that was my reading of the music, but make of it what you will. Now, if you enjoyed the Galliard Trio's performance, they've got a few CDs for sale, and you can find those on the table by the front at a bargain £5 each. So CDs on sale by the font. Thank you as ever to our catering team led by Debbie. And I'm getting fed up with this standing mic as well, so I'm going to use the handheld one. Catering team, thank you again for lovely food and drink today. Donation baskets, as usual, await your attention on the way out. There's a card reader by the font, QR codes available at your pew ends, and gift aid envelopes at the central crossing. So do give as generously as you can to keep this series flourishing. Now, next month we've got no regular concert, but as usual we have our participative come and sing carols to get you in the mood for Christmas. So that'll be on the usual third Wednesday of the month, namely the 17th of December. But beware, you won't get the full lavish lunch that you did today. It'll be seasonal refreshments of mulled wine and mince pies and that sort of thing. Before then, there are several imminent events to tell you about or remind you of. Tomorrow, here at 8 p.m, is one of our periodic peace and contemplation evenings. So do come and join us for that. And it is, the theme is the wonder of gratitude. Yes, the wonder of gratitude. So peace and contemplation here tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. A lovely peaceful hour of readings and music for you. This Saturday afternoon from 2 till 4, we're throwing open our organ loft here. It's, you may or may not know, it's National Play the Organ Year. 2025 is Play the Organ Year. And we're encouraging anyone, young or old, to come and try out our wonderful pipe organ. You can do that from 2 to 4 p.m. This Saturday. And I and my assistant and one of my organ scholars will be here to show you the ropes. And then this Saturday evening, if you're around the Kingston area, our church member Sue has reminded me about the Kingston Philharmonia concert. Kingston Philharmonia are playing at St Andrew's, Surbiton, a lovely programme of Glinka, Garde and Sibelius. And then as we get into Christmas proper, there is a parish Christmas card doing the rounds of, well, all addresses in the parish, and there are lots of copies available by the door, so do pick one up and take it home and perhaps give a spare to your neighbours. And that tells you on the back everything that's going on sort of throughout December, well, from the end of November actually, all the way through to the very end of next month. So lots happening in the parish, and that gives you full details. I think that's everything I've got for you in the way of news and comments. So thank you very much indeed for coming today. Lovely to see you here on this rather chilly autumn afternoon, but the music certainly warmed the cockles of our hearts. Let's give Galliard Trio one more round of applause for their music.